Good evening and welcome to Business Insider, where we bring you the latest when it comes to the business and finance world. I'm Rehan Morsi, and today we're going to start off with two different segments. Firstly, with the main news items that we find of importance on the show. Starting off with some local news, where President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi reviewed on Wednesday the current economic situation in light of the latest regional and international developments. This came during the President's meeting with the Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, Minister of Planning and Economic Development Hala Saeed, Minister of International Cooperation Rania Al-Mashat, in addition to the Minister of Finance Mohammed Mait and the Governor of the Central Bank Hassan Abdullah. Presidential spokesman Ahmed Fahmy said the President reviewed the government's efforts to enhance national economy against the international political and economic crises. In this respect, the head of state gave directives to continue developing national economic projects with the aim of bolstering its ability to confront the challenges as well as protect citizens from the negative effects. Also, still on local news, Egypt's stock market indices fluctuated on Wednesday, affected by selling operations of Arab and foreign investors. The main EGX 30 lost 1.44%, while the small and medium-sized EGX 70 added 0.25%, and the more expanded EGX 100 lost 0.15%. And on a global scale, the OECD said Wednesday that the world's economy is likely headed for a soft landing next year, as it is pared back to growth forecasts. In the latest economic outlook, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development trimmed its forecast for the global growth this year to 2.9%, down from 3% it forecast in September. The grouping of developed industrialized countries said it sees global growth slowing to 2.7% next year, unchanged from the previous forecast, which the OECD noted would be the lowest annual rate since the global financial crisis, aside from the first year of COVID-19. And we're going to move on to the next segment right after this very short break. And on to the next segment. First, let's say good evening to our dear guest, Alaa Khalifa, a tourism, marketing and hospitality expert. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. It's always my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Before we start off the discussions, we're just going to take a look at a quick report on the tourism and how marketing tourism in Egypt is an important aspect to developing the sector.
The Culture Tourism Marketing Committee at the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities stated that the Ramses and the Gold of the Pharaohs exhibition had served as a valuable tool to promote Egypt as a viable tourist destination to distant markets such as Australia. The exhibition was on November 16 in Sydney, Australia. It showcases 182 antiquities direct from the pyramids and museums of Egypt, together with their extraordinary stories. The chairman of the committee, Mohammed Osman, said the Australian market is characterized by high spending rates due to the high per capita income rate in Australia. He noted that Australian tourists also have a higher range of tourist nights, typically from 9 to 14, due to coming from a distant destination. Osman added that Australian tourism rates can be boosted by paying attention to it as a viable market through continuing to holding archaeological exhibitions, establishing more communication between Egyptian and Australian tourism decision makers, and agreeing to operate flights from multiple points in Australia to Egyptian tourist cities. He said the option to use the exhibition's advertising on social media to promote Egypt as a tourist destination is also viable. Osman said the exhibition has served as a viable indication of the Australian market's interests in ancient Egyptian civilization as its fourth stop at the Sydney Museum saw all tickets for the month of November being sold out. He referred to the important role of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, headed by Mustafa al-Waziri, and the Egyptian archaeological missions in making recent discoveries, providing an invitation to visit Egyptian archaeological sites and discover their secrets. The Egyptian General Authority for Tourism Promotion also took part in the 16th session of the COTTM International Tourism Exhibition in Beijing, China. The event is the largest gathering of tourism professionals in China, attracting participants from all over the world. The exhibition presents an opportunity for effective communication and engagement with Chinese tour operators and other professional partners. Earlier, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, represented by the General Egyptian Authority for Tourism Promotion, was participating in the International Tourism Fair in the French capital, Paris, in September. The fair is the most prominent tourism fair in France and is considered one of the 5 most important international tourism exhibitions in the world. All these exhibitions and others worldwide are very important for Egyptian tourism and spreading Egyptian culture all over the world.
Welcome back. And again, thank you for joining us, Mr. Alaa. Can you tell us a bit about the importance of having these marketing tools, creating exhibitions, or having, Ramses move around the world and Tutankhamun as well moving around the world? Is this something important to market Egyptian tourism?
Of course. Existence and being viable and existing in international exhibitions is extremely important to promote any destination around the world. The fact that when you go to a global travel fair and you meet stakeholders from all over the world, you meet destination, you meet other people that you want to outreach that you cannot outreach in normal times. It's an opportunity of engaging, it's an opportunity of marketing, it's an opportunity when ministers get to meet with businesses that are more interested in his destinations. It's an opportunity that countries will showcase their products. It's an opportunity where businesses meet together and forge B2B deals. It is a huge synergy happening in these exhibitions, allow countries to well promote themselves without having to go to various countries separately and then meet stakeholders in these countries, because everyone is in one place. During a 3 days or 4 days exhibition, it's just the world is between your hand.
Like you were saying, to sort of add to this point, now that we live in a digital age, how important is it to use social media to promote tourism?
Social media is an amazing tool to promote tourism, and we've talked about this in various meetings and interviews, that social media, the difference between social media and when people do searching is that when people do searching, they are looking for a specific product. They're looking for a specific need. They're looking for a problem to be solved. They're looking for something, a kind of a product that they are perhaps in a phase of intending or dreaming or buying or conversion. Social media is the opposite. Social media is where you reach out to target audience. This target audience is not looking for anything. He's just in a phase of like getting feed, and through this feed, you're actually choosing to show to him as a way to remember, to make him remember your destination, in a way to make him think about your destination. So you basically awaken the desire inside that targeted person. And so that is the fundamental difference in Google, for example, or search engines, that people come to you because they look for you. But for social media, you look for the people. You, as whether you are a destination marketing organization, you are a hotel, you're a restaurant, you look for your target audience. And then you can actually be very selective and choose the right target audience. So instead of having a broad marketing campaign, you can actually do it in a very selective way. People with certain demographics, with certain interests, with certain age, with certain households, a lot of different factors that can get you to the right target audience where you want them to be interested in your destination.
Since we're talking about social media and the idea of targeted audience, does branding play some sort of role in it? Could we get influencers, for instance, or celebrities to promote as well?
Branding is crucial. There are 2 things very important. Any businesses in tourism industry have to remember. But whether it's a travel company, a destination marketing organization, whether it's a hotel, it's a touristic facility, they have to remember that branding is the most important thing. When you keep your brand, when you keep brand guidelines vital and living within your social media posts, whether your talk, whether your aims and vision and mission and everything, when you keep it alive, people look at the brand with an affinity. And then once your brand brings that affinity, once people love your brand, get connected to it, it becomes part of their subconscious. Then when they think about this destination, they always think about this brand. This is why when we wanted to brand Egypt at some point, we just said this is the land that the sun would never go away, or experience, or that's where all started, with all begins. Egypt is the history hub. It's where all begins. For example, it's if you wanted to speak about the Red Sea, we connected the Red Sea with the brand that this is the place that the sun never goes away. But anyway, what I wanted to tell you is that you can't have a vital, important, effective marketing campaign without utilizing a brand. And a brand is your most effective marketing tool to start with.
Also, I mean, aside from social media, because it's still digital, but it's not really social media. When it comes to the digital platforms, we've seen a number of documentaries. Some are not the greatest and some are very positive, like the ones that included Dr. Zahi Hawass, who he on himself is actually a brand.
Yes, of course. He's an influencer.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you think that...
Yeah, the use of influencers nowadays to generate or co-opt in generating content is extremely vital. It's one of our most effective tools to bring more traffic. Why? There are two things in marketing that we have to be aware of, which led to the popularity of having influencers in each businesses, the promoting these businesses, is that people normally do not believe what you say about your brand. People believe what others say about your brand. So they believe it always from a third party. And second, and this is the reason why hotels have these huge, massive platforms in terms of putting the right reviews about their accommodation, about the facilities, about the experiences that they've experienced in a certain destination. So these reviews are more credible to other travelers or to other guests because they come from a third party. It doesn't come from the facility itself. The second thing is that international destination marketing organizations, such as tourism boards, basically what they did is that they started lately as a new trend to minimize direct advertising. And what they do is they do a third-party advertising, whether through an influential, like an influencer, what we're getting, whether it's a specialized in travel, specialized in something that relates to travel, that has a lot of followers, that has a lot of credible stories, that people believe, their opinion or follow their footsteps or whatever, and or like forging something similar with the B2B level, like forging what we call GMB, joint marketing plans. So tourism boards nowadays, they spend a considerable amount of their budget on joint marketing plans. What they do, they go to a stakeholder, to a partner in the industry, that this partner is well known for its productivity level. They come in, they say how much you spend on your marketing efforts, what would it take for us to help you promoting our destination through your social media platform, through your Google platform, through your landing pages, through your portal, and we will help you promoting that. We will pay for your expenses, but in return, you have to increase, you have to increase publicity to our destination, and you have to produce travelers towards our destination. And of course, a lot of companies, they welcome such an initiative because it brings them, it saves them from marketing costs, and in the same time, it increases their sales. So GMB nowadays is another very effective tool of marketing a destination nowadays, such as it's very much similar to attending fairs, very much similar to road shows, very much similar to reach out to people through social media, very much similar to other media buying, methods that we reach out to customers or potential customers around the world.
What about, I mean, we just saw that there are artifacts that are traveling around the world as part of exhibitions that go to different museums. Is this something that is actually useful, or can we just rely mainly on social media?
Absolutely, it's useful. Why? There are a very important thing also we have to realize in this regard is that when we do international exhibitions that tour around the world or a specific destination, these international exhibitions are considered to be a teaser. A teaser for the real thing. So when you send like 100 pieces or 200 pieces on an international exhibition that makes you like $10 million in terms of revenue, it's nothing compared to what those travelers can come to the destination and experience the real destination. But the most important thing is that you are opening their appetite. You're saying, this is a teaser, this is what we have, this is just a glimpse of what we can show you and get you. If you come to the Grand Museum, if you come to a temple, if you go to a sanctuary, if you get to any of these like archaeological ruins, then you come and experience the real thing.
Yes.
And so it awakens what we call in marketing the desire element. Okay? So basically a journey or a buying cycle for a traveler starts with the dreaming phase, with the desire, with the dreaming phase first, and then the desire phase, and then the searching phase, and then the intent phase, and then it goes into the transaction phase. Okay? And we have to be in every part of these phases, we have to be together with the traveler. We have to give him the right input, the right data, the right content, the right storytelling, so that he will be able to convert towards our destination.
What about the post-COVID world? And during COVID, everything shut down, planes were almost non-existent, no one traveled. Do you believe that the market itself, or the tourism market in general, globally, was affected and is still feeling the effects of this right now?
Definitely it got affected. Everything shut down during COVID time, so definitely it got affected. We used to have 1.4 billion tourists worldwide pre-COVID time. With COVID, the number dropped almost like 75%. And the industry, the tourism and the hospitality industry have suffered tremendously from such an effect, okay? But on the other hand, when it increased the hygienic procedures, and a lot of different entities stepped up in ensuring to their guests that they are following the best, the most hygienic steps in order to protect them. And secondly, it made people think about different destinations and different areas around the world, and it encourages the other industries after it slowly started to open to recuperate of their losses by allowing them to expand in different areas around the world. So travelers in 2023, they almost came to much closer to the numbers that was before COVID, and expected by the end of 2024 that the number of travelers is going to be like matching what happened during 2020 or 2019. But when the pandemic broke, we had three different scenarios. One that was very optimistic, which says 23, 24, everything's going to come back to normal. One that was like, not very much optimistic, that said it maybe come down to 25 and 26, and another one that was so pessimistic that said that no, that the recovery is going to be slow and not before the end of 26. Now, end of 22 and beginning of 23, the number of travelers around the world is just exponential. And people started to go, and it's expected now, the numbers have changed, and It's expected that the number of international travelers is going to jump within the next 10 years to reach 2 billion travelers.
Sure.
They'll be traveling around the world. This will increase, they will make an exponential growth in the aviation industry. They will need almost 1/3 of the capacity of hotel rooms around the world in different destinations. And for example, here locally, last October or September, or beginning of September, without the current war was happening, that we used to have like an amazing season at that time. But if you go down to Luxor and Aswan, Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada, it will be very difficult for you to find a room because everything is taken, everything is booked. So travelers are coming back and fluxing back into a place that they think it's a trending place. That's where travel fairs comes in handy. That's where travel fairs, that people can go there and showcase what they have. They can showcase what they can present, how they handle the COVID, how they are also handling the climate at that time, how their destinations are showing sustainability. The whole world nowadays is moving towards sustainability. It's important also that ministers, when they go and meet businesses in these travel fairs, is to address their concerns, is to speak out in front of an audience. I was in the World Travel Market in London just the beginning of this month, and I met a lot of stakeholders in the industry from all Arab countries. And I have to tell you, I was invited to attend the Minister of Tourism press conference. At that time, and I was really amazed by his capability and his amazing conversational skills in addressing international press. His Excellency Mr. Ahmed was able to address international press, was able to answer the question amid the crisis that is happening in the beginning of them in last months, and the war that is in Gaza. So he was able to speak to the press. He was able to answer that question. He used an amazing body language to ensure that everyone is safe, to ensure that what we got was not cancellation, it was just delayment, which is a very clever way of using terminology. He spoke to people and cherished them. He cherished their answers and their question. He respected their question. He was smiling. He was given numerous questions about the new Egyptian Museum, the Grand Egyptian Museum, and his answer was extremely diplomatic. His answer was extremely satisfying, and I can say that as a marketeer, that I thought that because of the perplexity of the difficulty of the questions and how these questions were very tricky, that they may be challenging for him. And I was so surprised that he was so quick in picking up these questions, so quick in answering them thoroughly, and I really admire it. And I have to say, I was so proud that he was the minister, my Minister of Tourism, standing there saying exactly what I would say if I am in such a conference like this. Well done.
Which kind of brings me to the next point. I mean, there was talk about, the Grand Egyptian Museum and, the pharaonic heritage and all of that. But how do you actually market something that's not tangible, like coral reefs or eco lodges, or how do you do that in a travel exhibition?
Well, marketing is marketing. Actually, when you market the pyramids, it's just you're marketing a picture. When you're marketing a video, it's content. When you create the right content, the right storytelling about anything, whether it's a touristic destination, whether it's a sport, whether it's anything. Once you have the right content and you have the right people to tell the content and you have the right audience, you can reach a broader audience and you can bring people that showed interest in that. For example, if you want to market Red Sea, if you want to market corals, for example, or the beauty of corals, then with a lot of documentaries, a lot of videos, and a lot of storytelling, a lot of things that can make people would want to go there and explore the underwater world, that would be doable through the storytelling, the right content, the right visuals, and creating great videos, creating also initiative, covering news about initiative, getting people to be more interested in visiting that part of the world, using the popularity of the Red Sea, as a world-class destination for divers and so on and so forth. So it is what we call a marketing mix.
Yes.
You use a marketing mix to tackle everything around a particular place.
Yes. It's a tactic that includes a lot of things.
That includes all of things, and then at the same time, we analyze the results through analytics. We get the right analytics, we make a decision, we tweak the marketing plan once and twice until we make sure that it reaches out the right audience, that it made the engagement that we want, the awareness that we want, the engagement that we want, and then finally the transaction is going to come or the conversion is going to come at the last stage.
Well, unfortunately, sir, we're out of time, but it was wonderful having you, and it was interesting to learn about the world of tourism marketing.
And about the strategies, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Pleasure is always mine.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alaa Khalifa, a tourism and hospitality marketing expert. Thank you so much for joining us.
All the best.
And this brings us to the end of this episode of Business Insider. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more here on Nile TV.